Okay, guys. So I have some important updates on the prophetic insights that the Lord gave me over a series of dreams over the past few days, and even back as far as a month ago, that I just shared on the live, where you guys are the ones that told me that Kim Clement had actually prophesied of this exact thing. Well, I just found out that so did Brandon Biggs. So this is kind of crazy. And I love how God is doing this live, so that way you guys are able to kind of track the development of the story. But we just found out that this actually has to do with potential, and you guys can do your own research. One of the things I've learned about interpreting the prophetic is to, number one, be careful of, in the area of the interpretation. So one of the things I will share as a disclaimer is that some of the things that I'm about to share with you are not things that the Lord has spoken to me directly, but that God has spoken to others about. So as of this morning, what I shared with you earlier that was kind of revealed on the live stream is that the Lord spoke to me in my dream last night that the crypto price points that he showed me would be connected to what would be the Snowden, is what was spoken in my dream. Now, I had no idea what that meant. You guys can watch the last video, but it come to find out it was prophesied by Kim Clement, that gentleman by the name of, is it Edward or Andrew? Let's see. Edward Snowden, Andrew Snowden. I'm trying to figure out. Hang on. Shoot. Edward Snowden. That's who it was. So I'm going to share with you a couple of things. Number one, this is actually something that somebody shared with me a moment ago. Now, this is a guy by the name of Trey Smith. Trey Smith, as you could see, he did a video called The Last Prophecy. It's a film about the prophecies of Kim Clement presented by Trey Smith. It's an hour long. You can see right on this timeline, the new Snowden arises. People become afraid. Terror group. They're pointing, the arrows to literally this Snowden. This is what I heard in my dream last night. This is what was connected to the prophetic crypto price point. And this is what I'm talking about, guys. So, for those of you guys who have maybe been in the dark for the past few years about the things that I've been sharing, listen, I'll be honest, I had several people that have been a part of our ministry list for years that unsubscribed from our emails because I started talking about this stuff, about what the Lord was showing me. And because people had always known me as, a deliverance minister per se, they were like, what sort of nonsense is this jargon? Because I was talking about the prophecies about the things that are coming. And some people may have been able to hold their opinion at a certain time period in our life before these events began to unfold. However, now that we're at war, now that we're seeing all these crazy things occurring that have been prophesied, hopefully people are understanding what is going on and why. And that's the whole reason why the Lord began to show me prophetic investment opportunities. And it's actually what I told you guys was the reason back in 2024 when I first started seeing these moves. And so because it has to do with God speaking to his people about the things that are coming, and using some of those or even others to be entrusted with the revelations of what would be considered the wealth transfer, where he provides provision for his people for the days that are being prophesied about. So naturally, inside my private community, guys, I had several people that had shared certain things. Okay. And this is all just stuff that has occurred this morning, but I've got several comments underneath my posts where people had mentioned various prophecies, that go along with exactly what I had no idea what a Snowden was last night, guys. In my dream, when I went live, sharing the prophetic update about the cryptocurrency price point that he showed me, I said that in my dream, you guys said, oh, the Snowden, but it was very exciting. You guys were excited about it. Now, there's nothing to be excited about when the Snowden is connected to this season where the new Snowden arises, people become very afraid. But let me tell you what I believe that means. Number one, there is always hope in Christ. Jesus always plants himself in the midst of darkness as the tower of light, the beacon of hope that we can confide in, put our trust in, rest upon, have peace within. And that is the point of why I believe you guys in my dream were very excited when you said the Snowden. I had no idea what the Snowden meant. I saw a crypto price point at a particular number that shocked me and a particular crypto, and I shared it inside my private community in my dream. And that is when you guys responded to me in the comments and said, the Snowden. And I was like, the what? And I woke up at 4:00 this morning and I searched for what that meant. And that's when I found out it had to do with a guy, Edward Snowden, who was a former CIA operative and was a whistleblower. He fled to North Korea. Now he lives in Russia under full citizenship. And he was a whistleblower against all of this government conspiracy stuff, where we were doing illegal activities. And here's the thing, though. You guys told me when I went live with this just an hour or two ago that Kim Clement had prophesied of this in 2014. Snowden actually was the whistleblower in 2013. I just learned all this as I Googled what this even meant because I had no idea what the Snowden meant. This is what the Lord spoke to me in my dream. And then also last night, as I was going back to sleep, this morning at 4:30 in the morning, maybe after I was already processing this, praying about it, writing it down, logging it. As I went to lay back down, all of a sudden I heard it's a clandestine operation. And I'm like, what is that? And I had to Google clandestine operation. And that's when I found out that it was just crazy, guys. I already went over all this in the last video, but my emphasis is look at all that has come up now since I went live and you guys revealed the details of what this is to me in the midst of that live. Here we have Trey Smith, the last prophecy, 644,000 subscribers. Go look at his channel, this video 2 years ago, where he's going over the prophecies of Kim Clement from, and he's put them in a timeline that he believes is the interpretation. Trump elected president, 2016, impeachment, then Trump set aside. The new Snowden arises, people become afraid. Again, this Snowden, I had no idea what it meant. You guys told me in the dream. And when I say this, I mean the Holy Spirit, but he uses people. And in my dream, the way he used you guys to tell me this in the comment section, which came to pass. Because on my live stream, when I'm going live about this an hour ago, you guys are the ones that began to tell me, yo, this was prophesied about. And yes, we know about it, which is what I heard in my dream and saw. And so several of these components came to pass. One person in particular was in my dream, the only person I knew by name in my dream, even though there were several members of my private community that knew about this. And if you go into my private community right now, you'll see that several people commented and they're like, hey, this person prophesied about it. That's how I found this video. So my dream literally in so many elements came to pass, all of the details, including the young lady who I knew by name in my dream. That was one of the ones that said the Snowden. In my dream, she was very excited. She happens to be a part of our ministry. She's been prophesied over that she's a prophet. And so I'm not surprised that God used her in my dream because it's symbolic of, confirmation or the Holy Spirit and prophecy. And so then I called her to tell her about it because she's in California, 3 hours behind, and she was trying to get updated on what was going on today. And I shared with her about my dream, and she was like, this is so exciting. And I said, that's funny because that's what you did in my dream, is that you were so excited and you were like, the Snowden. And anyway, it was just like every single element of that dream has already manifested. It's crazy. So that being said, let me also share with you guys one other prophetic word that was shared with me from another person in the comment section. Look at this. Brandon Biggs streamed 3 months ago what the Lord showed me about the next Edward Snowden. So Kim Clement has prophesied about this. Brandon Biggs has prophesied about this. And I had no idea what the Snowden meant when I heard this in my dream last night. And I woke up, wrote it all down, had to Google what a Snowden even was. I was thinking it was a city. Like, what is this connected to? I thought maybe it's a city in Iran or, what, Russia, or I was just like, I don't know. And it's a person. And so, but here's the deal, guys. If you look at Trey's video and his timeline of him processing Kim Clement's prophecies, you'll see on the timeline, he put the new Snowden arises, people become afraid. Because if you listen to the videos, the video here, I've still got it up from the last live stream. So I'll just share it with you. This is what Kim Clement prophesied of the Snowden.
I have set him aside. They will shout, impeach, impeach, but this shall not happen. And then God says, highly embarrassing moments when another Snowden arises. And people will become very afraid. They'll say, we have no protection. And then God says, am I impressed with your weapons of war? Am I impressed with the strength of your men's legs? Ha! I have said I will bring this nation to its knees. The man that I have raised up, pray. For the enemy will do everything in his power to put a witch in the White House. Did anybody hear what he just said? For Jezebel has chased away the prophets and even Elijah. Now I have said, go back. For this shall be dismantled so that there will be no more corruption in the White House, says the Spirit.
If you want to burn belly fat.
Listen, man. Listen, all right? Number one, he said that the Jezebel has chased the prophets away. Do you remember when the prophets prophesied that Trump would be reelected in, right before the 2020 election? And some just apparently presumed that it was going to be then. And maybe it was, even though that, you know, there was just corruption in the elections, who knows? But when he wasn't elected and everybody was coming out wanting to stone the prophets, literally, and I went live and I said, yo, this is not how this works. The word of the Lord is the word of the Lord is the word of the Lord. And you better believe it. You better bank on it, because, you know, he's not going to have all these prophets come out and sharing the same thing for it to be false. It's not going to happen. But everybody wanted to chase the prophets into the cave. And there was one specifically that completely like quit ministry and moved a couple of states away and went into like wearing sackcloth and ashes. Listen, when he prophesied that the prophets would be chased away by Jezebel, well, folks, listen, I'm telling you, this is what has been transpiring. And so the timeline, however, but he said that the people would be afraid. The people would be afraid. Now, there are, and that, you know, that would say we have no protection. And he said, have I not said I will bring this nation to its knees? Remember, I've been talking about this, that there is coming a season where people will no longer be able to operate in this season, in this coming season, the way that they've operated in seasons past, that the Lord is dealing with people's opinions and the way that you have been able to carry your opinions because of the heightened level of the season that we are entering into and even are in now. That you will not be able to function in the ways without consequence that you have been able to function in seasons past. You won't be able to play with the weight of the season that we are coming into. And that's what these prophets of God have been talking about. That's why I've been trying to sound the alarm. And why God is even giving me crypto price points, which is just completely ludicrous to the natural, logical, rational, and carnal mind. The religious mind, all of these different things, they will war against. So many people are like, you know, God would never, you know, he would rather do these types of things. He would rather, you know, be more concerned about souls, and like he is. That's why he's releasing provision for the days where there will be none. But because people do not have the foresight or the humility to be able to even see God when God manifests, unless it comes into agreement with what they already preconceived, because they live by their opinions. Remember? This is what God is dealing with in this hour, guys. However, you go and watch the last video. And if you're in my private community, I released the details that I said I would not be releasing publicly, particular to the price points and different things like that. And listen, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not, you know, it's not for me to say that God's giving me anything, price points, when it comes to your personal decisions. My personal convictions only become your personal convictions when they are between you and the Lord, and you've heard from him what I have heard from him. It's not you going and, you know, investing because I said anything. That is not what this is about. So I need to throw that out there as the disclaimer to make sure that it's always clear how this actually works. Because this, according to my disclaimer in the description section below, could be from the bad, you know, food that I had for dinner last night, for all you know. And so it's not for me to tell you what God said or didn't say, even if I say it in a way that it comes across that way. Because there's always a risk when following the prophetic, stewarding the prophetic. There is interpretations that can go wrong. There's timelines that can go wrong. And of course, that can be costly in the event that you decide to make any decisions that are obviously within the scope of those risks while stewarding the prophetic. All right, I'm going to jump off here. I wanted to get this out here because I wanted to share this latest update about how incredibly powerful these, insights are that you guys shared with me to show the level of accuracy and validity, and then even to add to what the Lord had shared with me in my dream last night concerning a word that I had no idea what it even meant. And so when he also said clandestine operation, you can look that up as well. And you can look up the history of Snowden, Edward Snowden. Like, there's a lot to this. But the fact that Kim Clement prophesied this in 2014, 1 year after Edward Snowden was the original whistleblower, it's pretty far out that, for 12 years now, the Lord had already released this. And we're coming into a season. You could see where Brandon Biggs shared 3 months ago that what the Lord showed him about the next Edward Snowden. You could see Trey Smith going over the timeline of what he believes the timeline is concerning Kim Clement's prophecy, and how he mentioned it's connected to the terror cells, which has also been prophesied. Folks, this is some incredible stuff of what God is doing and the insights that he's sharing. So listen, I'm going to jump off. Go watch the video if you haven't yet, but this is real. You're welcome to join my private community. The link's in the description section below if you're on YouTube. It's above if you're on Facebook. Yeah, to God be the glory. God bless.